Starting in 1932 and going on for the next 4 decades, a medical experiment was done, unbeknownst to the people that had signed up for it. Originally, people in a town were offered free medical coverage if they had signed on to do some minor medical tests. It was not disclosed to them that amongst these tests would be testing how syphilis affected people, and that they would not be treated for syphilis if it was discovered that they had syphilis. Numbers vary source to source, but generally the accepted number is around 600 people were tested in this way. And to make sure that the doctors had a large enough sample to see how syphilis worked, they even injected syphilis into some people so that they could watch it work, and then refused to treat them for it. This atrocity of medical science became known as the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, and it was completely done away with in 1972 and has since remained just a giant stain on the medical society at large ever since. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, because this seems to be something that is seeing a repeat right now, and it seems to be happening not exactly like this, but similar things seem to be happening with the COVID vaccines. Now, I want to make absolutely crystal fucking clear, I do not think this is intentional. I do not think that this is something that is being maliciously and intentionally done. The problem is that from a optics perspective, which is what these vaccines have been fighting against this whole fucking time, that's what it seems like is happening. From the point where the medical associations said that they were working on a vaccine to the point of having government approval was record-breaking speed. We're talking it was done in a fifth of the previous record, and that's being fucking generous on my part. It was done a hell of a lot faster depending on where your start date was, and I am giving the biggest possible start I can. So that is neck-shattering speed that happened in. So from that point forward, it was a battle of trying to convince people to actually want this thing because it happened so fast. People were afraid that this was untested, unproven, and that there were going to be shit horribly wrong with it. And from that point forward, every idea and everything that was done seemed to be the exact wrong thing to do. The first thing when this vaccine was approved was that they were going to obviously give it out in tiers or to groups that were deemed the most likely at risk. And the elderly were the first choice because that is who COVID kills the most. So that's fine, that's fair. Then, after the elderly, it was said that the next group that would get it, regardless of age, gender, health, anything, would be black people. It was at that point that I have this weird feeling that Tuskegee started running through people's heads again. Especially when you have people like Biden who, at the same time this was announced, said that businesses will still remain closed, but black businesses or black-owned businesses, they can open. So everyone else, stay inside. Black people, you're fine to come out. Everyone else, you're not getting the vaccine yet, but black people, they'll get it first. That, from those two things combined, from just from a visual perspective, just from a appearance perspective, that's not a good thing to do. That gives the impression that you want to see how this affects black people first before you give it to whitey. And I'm going to repeat this throughout this whole fucking video. I don't think this is intentional. I think that they have these good intent ideas that, oh, we need to help the minorities or these other groups first. But from an optics perspective, it is just a massive backfire. Then you had stuff like companies offering incentives to get the vaccine. The latest one being Krispy Kreme offering a donut a day for the rest of the year if you bring your COVID vaccine card, which I have this weird memory of cards being used to determine the acceptable citizenry from the undesirables. I have this memory of that being used in Germany before, and that didn't go so well. So I'm not sure this is the best idea for something to do, but what do I know? But you have companies like Krispy Kreme giving incentives for people to get the vaccine, and a lot of people are seeing this more as bribes than anything else. And again, from just an optics perspective, this does not seem to be a good idea. This seems like this is something that is so bad, you need companies to pay off people to take it. And again, this is not something that you want to do. This is putting more fear into people than it is giving them confidence. But especially if you remember, about 2-3 months ago, there were commercials that aired both on television and online. These commercials were offering up to $1,200 to people to test the COVID vaccine. Not a new one, not one that was about to come out, the ones that had already been distributed and injected into, at that point, 20 million people. They were offering money for people to test the COVID vaccine that was already approved. That's something you should have done before. That, as soon as I saw that, just red flags started going off in my head. And I was like, oh, you should not have aired this. This should have been kept a secret. You said the very, very quiet part extremely loudly, and that is a bad move, my dude. Because again, this makes it look like you did not test this shit. You just ran it out, and now you're trying to figure out, does this actually do anything to people? And then the last thing that's happened in a very short amount of time, I might add, I am autistic, and that is actually relevant to the point that I'm going to be making. I received an email from a national autistic advocacy group in association with one of the American medical centers. And I had to double check that this was a legit thing. It was. And that this was being sent out nationwide. Again, it was. Long story short, because I am autistic, they are offering me the chance to jump my spot in line so that I can get the vaccine ahead of where I would normally be able to due to my age. And I am in the age range where I would be getting the vaccine last because I am the healthiest group. Besides young kids, which they are doing ahead of my age group because they are in school settings, which I understand for that. Now, if you know anything about medical science and its history, you know that they also have a bit of a history with doing experiments on mentally ill and autistic people as well. And there is no reason at all to jump autistic people ahead in line for a physical ailment. Being autistic doesn't have physical ramifications or physical problems with it. There are some exceptions, of course, like there are in anything, but the general rule is it's a mental illness, not a physical illness. So why would you jump autistic people ahead when, physically speaking, they are perfectly fine? That is another sort of red flag optics thing that is, while good intent, I am absolutely certain it is just pure good intent, comes off as a very, very bad and scary look. As I said, from day one, when this vaccine was approved, it has been fighting an optics battle to get people to want to take it because it just went through so fast. People are scared to shit that there is something wrong with this and that we are going to be paying for it way down the line. And everything that they have done since then has just fucking backfired. It has been the exact opposite of what you have wanted to do with this. And I don't know how the fuck to just tell them, look, you need to stop doing this. You have the best of intents. You are trying to help, but you are just making it worse. It honestly would have been better if they had done nothing at all, and if they had stopped companies from offering incentives to take the vaccine. I think that more confidence would be in the vaccine right now if nothing had happened than if they'd done any of this. And that's kind of the exact opposite of what you're going for. I really do hope that everything that anyone thinks that's bad with the vaccine, and not the crazy conspiracy, they're putting microchips in to control us kind of shit. No, fuck that. I don't even think that for a goddamn second. I'm talking worries that this was untested and this is going to have some nasty side effect to it. I hope that every thought like that is wrong, just in every level, and this is perfectly fine. Nothing bad is ever going to happen from this, and that we are just going to be all sunshine and roses from here on after this is in everybody. I really do hope that. You are not giving the impression that that is going to be the case, and you need to fucking stop. This is one of those hell is paved with good intentions kind of things that you are doing right now, and you need to just take a step back and stop and let people build up confidence in this of their own by seeing it in action rather than you trying to bribe us and trying to put forward special groups that you think need it first when you're making it seem like they are being tested first. I really do hope that absolutely nothing comes of this, and this is just paranoia on the part of a lot of people, and that this is just an overreaction that I have seen on the part of a lot of people, including myself. I really do hope that. I want nothing more than for this to just be a smooth thing where nothing happens. That's what I want in all of this. It really is. This has been Math Machine, reminding people to make sure they have their papers. Peace out.